Welcome back to NiteBites. I'm your host, Clark Garen.
And I'm your co-host, Denise Oliver.
Anyhow, to summarize what we were talking about before the break, my problem is because he lied about what he was going to do with bankruptcy reform to allow people to stay in their homes. I just don't trust President Obama anymore.
That's amazing. Clark, it's a process. Just because he didn't do what you want him to do. I mean, the man can't do everything all at once. Let's give him a chance to tackle some things, maybe come back and revisit others. Did you actually expect him to just sweep in and just scoop up that amount of crap you guys left him, you know?
I think that, in my opinion, the bankruptcy reform is why we now have almost 10% unemployment instead of 5% unemployment. I think that is the cornerstone of why our economy is crashing, these crashing real estate values. And yeah, I don't think he cares about ordinary people. I think he's captive to the special interests, which is why I don't trust him when it comes to health care reform. I'm not seeing anything that's going to stabilize my premium. I'm seeing things that are going to try and provide benefits to the people who don't have it, but that's not going to benefit me.
If there are more people that are purchasing or in the market, you don't think that will automatically bring down the rates for everyone?
No, because one of the things that they don't talk about is that they are trying to get insurance for people who are very high risk. Now, I right now, honestly, am very high risk. Any carrier, no carrier in their right mind would want to provide me coverage. I'm fat, and I'm pre-diabetic to diabetic, and I'm in lousy shape. And the only reason I have health coverage is because before I became 2 years from Medicare and got into this sorry condition, I paid for premiums. I've had coverage all my life. I've been one of those responsible people. But what the president wants to do is say an insurance carrier has to insure somebody like me, who's a walking time bomb of expense for a health carrier.
Right.
And not only do they have to insure me, they have to insure me at standard premiums.
You know, I had a question about that because I was wondering about the insurance premiums for people that are excessive risks or have pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to check into that because I thought that perhaps there was a provision that you could purchase insurance, but not necessarily at the prevailing rate.
Well, if they let you purchase insurance for an existing condition, no one's going to be able to afford the rate. Because that's why they exclude it, because the carrier, the insurance company, cannot make a profit on it. Now, in fairness, let's look at what we do with other things. You're talking about catastrophic illness overall.
Okay.
Now, we have catastrophic insurance for other things. For example, if you're on the East Coast and you're in a hurricane zone, there's catastrophic coverage.
Yeah.
The government provides it. It's called flood insurance.
And California has earthquake.
Earthquaking for a catastrophe. And the whole idea is you have a small number of people where the risk doesn't pay for any private insurer, so the country as a whole covers those costs on the theory that, for example, the hurricanes happen much more frequently than do earthquakes. Well, the theory it'll balance itself out.
Right.
Now, if he were proposing some type of national catastrophic health insurance to take these unprofitable health cases off the backs of the private insurer and putting it into a government program, something like what example they do with dialysis.
Okay.
Now this would make sense.
Okay, so if he does that, then you'd be on board.
I'm not giving him a blank check, but I would at least be having to sit here and say, yeah, if we're doing that, that has a chance of lowering my premiums.
Okay.
Where what he's doing doesn't.
Okay. And that will be interesting. So you know what, Clark, I'm going to check into that because I'm almost sure that there is a provision for that, and that it's not to be it's not at the prevailing rate. But of course, I don't know, so that bears looking into for next time. But yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, there's, you got something to do with catastrophic, because we had a deal. I had a company with, around 100 employees, so I got, a fairly decent pay. I had enough people so people were interested in insuring it, until they realized one of my employees was full-blown AIDS and his medication was running them about $100,000 a month. And that would make my whole group of 100. Nobody's going to want to touch me. And it just creates, this catastrophic coverage is a major issue, which, if we're doing healthcare reform, nobody's addressing. And that's just one example.
And the sad thing about that is that really so many diseases are treatable now if you catch them early enough.
That is true.
And if people had coverage and didn't ignore their coverage, other providers...
Why are you giving me the evil eye, Miss Denise?
And adhere to their provider's prescriptions.
Just because you lost a lot of weight recently and I gained it.
Yeah, you found it, right?
Yeah, I found it.
Then we actually wouldn't have people with so many catastrophic illnesses. Go ahead.
This is another reason why I don't trust what the president's doing. Another lie. He says, well, we need to do preventative programs, because if we teach prevention, in other words, teach you to eat fruit instead of Big Macs, we're going to have healthier people and they're not going to need as much care.
Yeah.
Well, for starters, prevention is going to front load cost more money.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it ignores one unescapable flat fact.
We're all going to die?
You steal all my lines, damn it. Everybody's dying. No one gets out of here alive.
Yeah, well, it's one thing to just drop dead of old age, and another thing to linger and make the rest of us pay for it.
Old age is not an illness. You don't die from old age.
Yeah, you do.
No, you
When you're
don't.
like 90 years old, you go to bed and you wake up dead.
Yeah, but you die.
And you didn't linger, and I didn't have to pay $200,000 because you wouldn't stop eating Big Macs.
Well,
stop. Put down the Big Mac, Clark. Pick up an apple, okay?
I don't like apples.
Well, peach, whatever.
I don't like peaches either, unless they're Georgia peaches. Anyhow, but seriously, you don't die from old age. You die from a heart failure. You die from kidney failure. You die from something. You don't die from just being old.
Yeah, you're old and stuff just stops working. Something major stops working and then you die. But it stops all at once. It's not incrementally to where the rest of us have to pay for it. That's what you want. Somebody to just all of a sudden break down, like the timing belt on your engine just goes,
We're going to have to take a break. This is NiteBites. We'll be right back and take up that thought. So please stay with us. Thank you.